This is going to be your guide to using Samurott in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So we got a 7-star raid coming up. Subscribe, notification bell, so you get the guides on how to catch this Pokemon. But once you have it, how to use it, that is what we're going to be breaking down in today's video. So like, comment, share if you enjoy. Also, because there's like so much crazy stuff going on, you're gonna need energy to battle, to raid, to do all that fun stuff Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Check out Coffee Brand Coffee. I got an affiliate link in description, probably pinned comment down below. It's incredible what like really good high quality coffee does, and it's gonna fuel your day, so check that out. And I know a lot of people already have, so cool on you guys. Let's talk about Samurott now. So we have this like samurai cutting crazy Pokemon that has Aqua Cutter, new move, always had the Razor Shell though, and no ability to use it with. That's going to be for Hisuian Samurott. That gets Sharpness. Not out yet, no Pokemon Home, so that's going to be coming later. That's why we subscribe, notification bell. So it means we still just got Shell Armor on Samurott, which doesn't really do anything for the Pokemon. And the biggest thing is like you're thinking, it's got moderate bulk, you know, it's possible to make a dedicated defense tank if you just go all in, even on like average 90 stats. And if it doesn't get crit, then that means if we boost our defenses and it doesn't even get Iron Defense. There's nothing to do. There's no Iron Defense, there's no Body Press to make use of the Shell Armor, and then there's no other ways of like getting defensive stats where the crits don't matter. So we're just stuck on Torrent for this Pokemon that has 100 attack and 108 special attack. Alright. Also, when you think about it, like, Razor Shell isn't the best move on this Pokemon because Liquidation is going to give us quite a bit more damage. So that just kind of makes it even weirder. I don't think you need the Razor Shell to, like, gamble the 50% chance over the 20% chance for the damage. That's, like, another weird thing about Aqua Cutter. That high critical hit ratio, or the 50% chance to have an effective crit on your next turn. Like, at least 50% more damage, so weird stuff like that. The coverage also not incredible on this Pokemon. Like, you're just mono water, so that's where you're getting the most of your damage out of. However, there's just countless other Pokemon. Like, we go over here, we go to attack, and we can just kind of see like there's just Pokemon of all types with more attack, better speed, just better stats everywhere. So we really have to like push this Pokemon to the edge if we want to make it usable. The interactions of this Pokemon stats, not looking great either. So, Liquidation onto one of the most frail defensive Pokemon. We got 55 on the Flutter Mane. Miraculous you actually get to survive, but you need, like, weird defensive investment. That's kind of another thing, like, 70 speed means you don't have to invest into it, so we get a bit more free bulk, and then it just really looks awkward. 100 attack, Adamant Nature, Liquidation, onto the 55 uninvested is not a KO. Now, you do get the follow-up on Aqua Jet, so I mean, like, I guess in Sash situations. Sure, but we just get mowed down by the choice spec, so a Calm Mind, effectively the same thing. Even without it, still a 2-hit KO from 135 Pokemon, so we are easy to revenge because of our speed, easy to just put a lot of threat onto. And as is the case with pretty much every starter Pokemon, you really just have to work it into being some kind of one-for-one in niche situations. Now, this doesn't have an item, but if you have something like the Life Orb on the Samurott, also it doesn't show the Moonblast because like I have the same screen region and sometimes it just changes around and doesn't show. So Moonblast, 49 to 58%. If it has the choice specs, or actually just an effective +1. Like, that's an insane amount of damage, and you're not surviving anything else. That's why the Life Orb is also rough, because, like, then you just trade 1-for-1, where, alright, Liquidation with Life Orb is a KO, but you take, like, this hit first, and then after Aqua Jetting, you're just, like, KO to your own Life Orb, or Burn, or whatever, so it just makes you, like, extra frail, which isn't good. But I guess if you're getting KO'd anyways, you might as well find the damage for some of these, like, weird conversions. But any Pokemon that's relatively bulkier, 65-70, oh, we're not KOing anymore. Great. After that, we have Iron Bundle. So, like, can we do anything to the Iron Bundle with 100 attacks? Sacred Sword says no. Freeze Dry says you lose anyways, even if you're bulk. So, like, max hit point, max attack invested, doesn't matter. Now, it is choice specs, so, like, non-choice specs, you kind of get to bulk out, but, again, there's just Pokemon that can do this better and care less. And, like, that's kind of where it just gets disgusting on the power creep, huh? Because Dondozo. For some reason, Dondozo has 100 attack. Like, Dondozo's just a better Pokemon. We're getting outsped by everything faster than 70, which is a lot. And even though there are a lot of Pokemon, like the King Gambit, in between that 35, 70, or whatever, like, it's cool to outspeed bulky Pokemon, but it doesn't matter if you have 100 attack and the bulky Pokemon just gets to beat you anyways. It's like Dondozo's is power crept in every way. It's actually outrageous. Dondozo does the same amount of damage, it takes less, and then it also has Unaware, and it also has an OHKO move. Neat. And like, again, no Iron Defense, no Guillotine. Maybe you could have some anti-tanking shenanigans on a Guillotine, but alright, we don't have that. So the Iron Bundle, like, well, we have, you know, Sacred Sword for that super effective, decent hit. Not enough. And even with Life Orb, like, it's not enough if you find some kind of way to survive. So that's weird. And then I was like, alright, what about Golden Go? Like, we have Knockoff as an option. We hit him with a super Knockoff and then maybe try to convert. But Golden Go has, like, the wildest power creep speed on us. The good thing is we survive. Like, cool. We have enough natural bulk on 95-70, which means we're not getting one-shot by everything. Probably put in some hit point investment as well. So, like, cool. Golden Go needs to set up. You can use Knockoff against it. It doesn't get to sub or Nasty Plot for free. Like, you actually got something. You don't have the Aqua Jet follow-up, so it starts to get, like, sketchy a bit. But, like, I guess that's the one thing about Samurott. That depending on the Samurott you're running, you're enough of a threat to where you need to be dealt with because you can 2-hit KO a lot of things in return. So, like, the opponent can't just set up against you for free, but you're also a sacrifice against a lot of meta Pokemons where, like, you trade 70% of a meta Pokemon's health, and then you get KO'd, but hey, at least you got to scout them and not get set up on something more risky. So, at least it's got that going for it, mostly off of the bulk or something. And then you can just run attacks, but that's where I said, like, what do you do on item? Because now we're trading, so maybe we go from, like, a 70% to a potential Liquidation Aqua Jet KO trade, and then we're just a 1-for-1, but at least, again, like, it means we are not free. Like, that's the best thing I have to say about Samurott. It's not free. So yeah, you actually have a threat on the Knockoff, and if somehow you outspeed the next Pokemon coming in, because it's a bulky tank Pokemon, the Knockoff value is a 1-for-1 plus, that's pretty solid. I was also, like, thinking, what if we go for some shenanigans, you know, max out the speed, what does Jolly Nature do? Jolly Nature gets outsped by 84 speed, modest. So you don't even have, like, a cheeky way of catching certain Golden Goes, which are very common in the meta. Like, that's just... Look at the speed creep, guys. It's just so disgusting at how these interactions end up playing out. Then, like I said, if we're only talking about starter Pokemon, because those are the only Pokemon that are coming through these 7-star events and then, like, transfers and whatever, it starts to look really samey to where, like, what can you do? You can Endure, you can go Boost Berry, you activate the Torrent, and then you try to do something. Putting speed into 70 creeps into a couple of things, but then, like, you also find some weirdness, because Golden Go started off as just, like, modest raw damage tanking, and then kind of got speed, and now they're actually, like, running Timid. So, you're not catching those Pokemon, and now it's, like, starting to catch up just a little bit on the speed creep, so not really outspeeding much. Like, maybe the best you do is you put 20 here, Adamant Nature, 28, that way, like, you catch the creep 70s. And then you got bulk. But then, like, actually, no, what's the point? If you're going indoor, you don't really need the bulk, so I guess, yeah, outspeed what you can. But because Torrent Lychee Berry is giving us a lot of extra damage and a potential Terra Water out, well, then we actually don't need the damage of Adamant, so it's ugly. But it might win you something that maybe matters. I don't know. And then our coverage is going to be weakened substantially, but at least it's going to look pretty strong. And with our natural bulk, you know, we could have that. See, that's another thing. Like, okay, but what if we use our natural bulk? Because this isn't Sash, where we go Adamant Nature, Speed Creep, Hit Point Investment, Liquidation, take a hit, then we Endure to make sure we get at 1 hit points for the Torrent, for the Lychee Berry, just in case we took like 70%. Like, we take 70% because of our bulk right here, but it also means we are more resilient to neutral 1-hit KO hits, and then the Aqua Jet with all that boosting is going to be strong, especially with like the Water Terra, so we have that priority. And yeah, like, we're 1-for-1 plus. We Liquidation Aqua Jet combo, and then the Pokemon that comes in, if it doesn't have faster priority, we just crush it on Aqua Jet, or if it's a bulky Pokemon, We still do, you know, boosted damage knockoff to it on Adamant Nature, which is pretty nice. And then we remove the item, and there we go. Like, this is it. This is the Samurott. And like I said, Samurott's enough of a threat to where it's not too free of a setup against it. I mean, I guess if, like, something comes... Like, let's just say Garganasalt comes in, Terra's into Ghost or Flying, and then sets up Dire Defense, you lose the game on the spot. But if it's more, like, standard leads, and they're not trying to, like, go defensive boosting, or bulk water, and then you're able to just kind of read into a Paradox Pokemon or something. Actually, this could be really strong against Chi-Yu, too, because now we have, like, these water matchups where it's like, oh, physical Aqua Jet boosting into a Chi-Yu. It kind of shuts out that lead and then gives you, like, damage the opponent doesn't want to walk into. So, actually, like I said, surprisingly not free. Barely viable. But maybe, and then, like, you know, you have this niche on Torrent that doesn't, that, like, other Pokemon, even, like, the 120 attack, the Power Creep Water-type Pokemon, offensive Water Pokemon don't have. So, like, you can actually fit something that Samurott does that other Pokemon don't. And even though it's risky, if you all in on the setup and you get it with the Samurotts, where, like, you're +1, you have Torrent going, you've got that Aqua Jet, and you can throw out the Terra Water, Aqua Jet can KO a couple of things. So, yeah, like, we're on the most frail end with the Flutter Mane, but, like, Jolteon, yo, you find it. And even as you, like, creep up, let's say an 85-80 Pokemon, which is a bit more above average, still hurting. Like, a Pokemon's just going to get crushed by that, and that's going to be easy to pick off, potentially with, like, even more priority or something. Again, you have a lot of things to worry about with bulk water, but if you play, like, bulk counter into that, and then just kind of trade in that way, you might be okay. Now, this does take away your Terastallization, which is very important, but that's why you keep it there. You just have Water Samurott. It's a 3% chance you actually pop it for that game, and instead of, like, using it for your other strategies. But if you can actually get that insane amount of power and be more than a 1-for-1+, surprisingly, possibly viable. And another default way of breaking down starter Pokemon is that you swap the effects of the items and the moves. So instead, we go Focus Sash, and then we also put the Swords Dance here, and it's kind of like the same thing. Instead, now we're actually getting a +2. That comes at less reliability of the Focus Sash, but because we have the Focus Sash, we want to proc that as reliably as possible and not, again, survive on, like, a weird 30% health, and then we have no benefit going on whatsoever. So, actually, yeah, Torrent's going to be 1/3, so, like, 35%. Now, there's just so much stupid stuff in the Generation 9 meta that is going to undo this 90% of the time, even though it's, like, a 3% usage on that Pokemon. So I don't know about the effectiveness of that, but has it gone full circle to where, like, all the wall breaking, anti-wall, stall, anti-stall, anti-anti setup, reset up ugliness, something. We also have photosynthesis and paradox Pokemon, all of this weirdness in Generation 9. Maybe this is the cure. Maybe this is the remedy. You go Sash Swords Dance turn 1, and you say, I win. Or at least you get enough to threaten a win. Going back to damage calculations, also just has, like, weird stuff to where, okay, what about bulky, slower Pokemon? Something like the King Gambit. Let's just say health investments, so we don't have to worry about defense and weirdness. To where, like, okay, you're at 1 hit points, a Sucker Punch does you in. You can outspeed them on the Aqua Jet, make the Sucker Punch fail, and now it does become, like, a mind game. And I would say skill matchup in previous generations, like, oh, Swords Dance, King Shield, mind games against Mega Pokemon with Aegislash, that was like the pinnacle of Pokemon strategy. But Generation 9, it's all RNG. It's just a dice roll. Do Aqua Jet twice in a row because they're sucker punching twice in a row because there's no clear win condition analysis, cost, effective, loss, benefit, whatever. And if you get to the triple Aqua Jet, you just win while bricking all of their sucker punches, so that priority into, like, slower priority is really nice. Or you also have Liquidation, to where Aqua Jet, Liquidation, and if they actually go for, like, a Kowtow Cleave or the non-Sucker Punch move to KO you, you get the KO on them. And that's because you got to set up into their lead Pokemon, which you KO'd, because you actually had all this craziness. Also, that could just happen. So if they're getting 2-shot by the Aqua Jet, like, you throw the Aqua Jet, they can't Sucker Punch again because they just lose to the Aqua Jet. Actually, at that point, they just lose. So I guess, yeah, you just 2-shot them on Aqua Jet and hope that there's no turn 1 non-Sucker Punch. So it turns out having quadruple damage on priority can be pretty good. So yeah, like, again, that this is the less reliable setup. Like, yeah, higher risk, higher reward compared to the Endure, which is kind of more on command for the +1 on the Lychee Berry, which doesn't break down tank Pokemon as much, etc. Like, it's still a lot of weird interactions here, but again, not a trash Pokemon, and might even thrive a bit in the ugliness of Generation 9. As for Special Attack Samurott, there is no upside to a 108 Water Special Attacker unless you want to, like, use the Hydro Cannon with, like, Torrent, Focus Sash, or something. Even then, like, that's uglier. That's even less reliable. Use this and win. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.